Hello everybody and welcome back to the Library of Ruina. Alrighty, it's time to continue our adventure within the abnormality fights. So we're gonna start on the left. Based on what I'm seeing, I'm gonna say that this is a HOD-themed fight. 400 roses. Normal, endured, normal. Endless yearning. Add a special combat page to the hand of every librarian and gain 1 saturation. Can have up to 6 saturation at the same time. Amount of saturation affects the behavior of this character. This character can gain saturation from librarians using a certain combat page, 1 saturation for every 25 HP recovered during a scene, and can lose it from being staggered, loses 2. You lose 1 at every scene, and upon reaching below 60% health, you lose 2. You also change pattern after dropping below 60%, which gives you 2 haste at the start of every scene for the rest of the act. Exsanguinate. Takes no damage from bleed. Oof. Does not lose bleed stacks when rolling offensive dice. Bleed of this character does not decay at the end of the scene. While a character with this passive is present, bleed of all librarians is only halved between turns. All librarians take half as much damage from bleed. So this would be really good with the what's-his-name build that just bleeds himself like crazy that I can't remember the name of. You know who I'm talking about. A drop of nourishment. At the start of the scene, recover HP equal to stacks of bleed on the field. On a successful attack, inflict 1 to 3 bleed this scene, and recover HP equal to double the amount of bleed inflicted, excluding mass attacks. Wound. On hit, gain 3 bleed up to twice. Bursting petals. On hit, inflict 3 bleed to each other. On hit, deal bonus damage equal to target's bleed. Yearning gives you 3 counter dice that all inflict 3 bleed. Bloodletting. Gain 10 bleed this scene and take 5 damage. 400 roses gains 1 saturation next scene and redraw this page next scene. And saturation is at 4 plus saturation. Gain protection and stagger protection equal to stack by 2. Otherwise, gain X fragile and lose X speed dice. Brambles that constrict. Spend 50 bleed to restore 100 health. On hit, purge all bleed from target. Restore HP equal to stacks of bleed purged. You know what? I could think of an E.G.O page that's going to do wonderfully in this fight. Endless spring of blood. Combat start. Destroy all dice on this page. Upon being successfully attacked during the scene, use a copy of the page on the attacker. Oh, only activates once. Alright, well there is that. Storm of Spikes. On use, spend 20 bleed to boost power of all dice on this page by plus 5. On hit, gain 3 bleed. Brambles that yearn. On hit, purge all bleed from target and gain bleed equal to stacks of bleed purged. And finally, Mircalla. Mass individual, we're gonna have to read this quickly. Dice on this page gain 1 power for every 15 bleed on the field, up to 2. All characters do not lose bleed stacks after rolling offensive dice for the scene. Inflict 2 fragile, 3 bleed, and recover HP equal to the amount of damage dealt. I'll tell you what, I will take a scrolling page over a page that's so squished that you literally can't read anything. That's a nice touch. I don't know what this music is, but it's very pretty. Now, here's something, you know, good ups and downs. We, all inflict some type of bleed. So here we go. Okay, you are debuffed next turn. That is a guaranteed draw no matter what. Let's gain a bit of strength next scene. Venomous Fangs! It's mainly for the fragile, but the bleed is there. We also do get quite a bit of debuffs. Venomous Fangs unfortunately doesn't quite work out for Crimson, but that's okay. Multi-slash to get all of our stats back. Lean, bloody wings. We'll say that we did it for the healing. Okay, so the flower is constantly going to restore a bunch of health, and unfortunately, there is nothing to be done about it. More. 7 fragile is gonna help us a lot, especially because we have, like, about 2,000 health to go through, and that's ignoring healing. 10 damage being done from Kitteh. Tenacious Wound. Ooh, 26 damage. You'll love to see that. Combined Tactics. Oh, right, and we do have to worry about the difference in phases once we get low enough health as well. Okay, here's my guess, right, for the phase. I'm gonna guess that you get empowered based on the amount of bleed that's been done this entire reception. Just a guess. You know, just a wild guess, but I'm gonna guess that that's what's gonna happen. Is there no level 1? I'm thinking of the wrong floor. Oh, data collection. There was barely anything to data collect, but that's alright. We're gonna go with glitter on Kitteh. Now, we're gonna swap to guarding stance. We are now immune to bleed on Kitteh. That is guaranteed going to get extra, so I'm just gonna go for opening ceremony, and then rebuild will guaranteed land. Mark my words. Let's go ahead and... Actually, I want something ranged. Let's shatter the precipice. You know what we'll do? Let's have some fun, just because we can. I'm gonna go with Laceration, because I'm confident it will win that clash, and then I'm not confident we're gonna win this clash, so let's just go for Shockwave. We could go for Essence Extraction again, and honestly, I think I just might. However, I would also like to get some Strength. Whether it lands or not is another question entirely. Then we're gonna go for Skin and Debone. I'm gonna go for Impartiality, and then we'll go straight to the mark, because we can. Wow, that Paralyze really hurt that, huh? That didn't roll nearly as high as I thought it was going to. Apparently, I completely underestimated Paralyze. Okay, Laceration working out for us. We are actually about to get a Stagger. And so we do. Huh. Well, can't go wrong with that. I'm gonna go for... You know what? Let's go with Cocoon. And we'll do it on Hod. So, I don't know if you just stop taking damage when you hit 60%, but what I do know is that you are going to die. Let's go ahead and use Apostle just so we have it up and going. We'll also use Watchful Prayer because we can. Oh. Okay, now I'm going to go straight to the mark and then Alerted Anticipation to get some light. Speaking of light, let's go ahead and draw while getting some light and then draw some more. Let's use Unlock, even though we're already Blade unlocked, but hey, may as well get it going. Mannequin to debuff. Then I'm going to go for Double Blood Bullet, which allows us to go for Lean Bloody Wings next turn. Oh, like 1 under 100 damage with a single page. Blood Bullet dealing 32 damage. That 5 extra fragile is absolutely helping how much damage we're pumping out. Unlock rolls maximum 63 damage from Crimson. And I'm pretty sure this is where the phase change occurs. Brambles that yearn. Brambles that yearn. With the timing of that music change, I'm gonna say I was right. Mass individual, let's do it. Then we go straight to the mark. Ooh, dude, I like this music. This music is actually, like, so good. Sorry, I had to take a second. I actually really, really like this music. This is so nice. Let's go ahead and not go for lift. Oh, seems like we have no choice regardless of what we do. Okay, let's go for lift the mountain. Then I am going to go for shockwave because it's free. It's time for lean, bloody wings. Then we are going to go for mince just to get as much damage as physically possible. Then we're going to go for extract essence because both mass attacks are hitting the same dice. Let her rip. Aww. Okay, everyone blocks that. Everyone blocks that. Okay, so we were hit by 1. That's not too bad. Lift the mountain, rolls max. Mince. Bleed, fool. Oh, he's not taking any damage. Oh, wait, no. Yes, he is. Yes, he is. Okay, I thought its HP stopped. Beyond, working out very nicely for us. Iron Wall, getting us a little bit of endurance. Next scene, Path of Conviction, dealing a fair bit of damage, all things considered. Our counter dice completely preventing all damage. And Crimson doing just completely fair and balanced amounts of damage. I'm kind of thinking of alertness on Sarah. And then we're gonna reroll. We're gonna reroll. It's time. Come on, you already knew that I had to do it at least once. Issue, we don't have enough light for it on Crimson, but we also won't next turn. Well, we could do it on Hod. Even though it would be the most fitting on Crimson, I think we'll try and go for it on Hod. Then, let's have some fun! And I'm also going to go for Tail Whisk, just for a bit of bleed, and for the light, let's go for Laceration, should work out just fine, and then we just go for this one. Saturation, absolutely not being used at all. So, I'm kind of wondering, why would we use Bloodletting? Other than, okay, well, to be fair, it is effectively free damage. And we do take half bleed damage. But at the same time, it kind of just doesn't seem worth it. Because we're basically just buffing the boss. I'm sure there is a reason for it. I just think I'm not quite figuring it out. I don't know, truthfully. TLDR? No idea. Well, may as well just try and steal a couple clashes for ourselves. And here we go. Mircalla. It only hits Crimson, despite being a mass individual. And Hod deals a colossal 109 damage because of Sanguine Desire. Who would have guessed? The flower that harvests blood. Didn't know it could be used against it. Unfortunately for you, little flower, it's over. The 400 Roses. Extracted E.G.O. Yearning Mircalla. Ooh, I really like how that outfit looks. That outfit looks so cool. Weak to all damage. And also a whopping 44 stagger resist. Wow. And as for what we got, Coveting Thorns. Upon attacking a target with bleed, deal damage and recover HP equal to the bleed on target up to 10 twice per scene. Wow. That seems powerful. Bulging Petals. At the end of each scene, recover 4 HP for every character with bleed. For every 12 HP that was recovered this way, gain 1 Feeble, Disarm, and 2 Protection. Interesting. So, tank them out. Take a... So it literally is kind of like a tank thing. Okay. Let's see. And... we got 2 more. Carmilla. At the start of the scene, 2 pages with the highest cost in hand gain Thorn for the scene. Thorn, while this page is being used, inflict twice as much bleed with combat page abilities. Oh! An Endless Yearning. While the Select Librarian is alive, bleed of all characters does not decay at the end of the scene. And all characters inflict 3 to 5 bleed this scene with attacks. Librarians inflict 2 less bleed from this effect. So, and that does not override Obsession. Oh boy. So, hang on. Let's read the passives. Let's see here. Bleed on this character persists between scenes, and you gain E.G.O pages at emotion level 2 and 4. Aeonia Blossom. Lower damage taken from all sources by 1, and boost damage by +1 for every 5 stacks of bleed on self, up to 5. Embedding Thorn. On a successful attack, if target has bleed, inflict 2 bleed, same scene, and recover 2 HP. And Dry, Withered, and Starving. At the start of the scene, if HP is below 50%, gain 2 Fragile, and recover HP equal to stacks of bleed on self. So, but you still take damage from bleed, right? Am I mistaken on that? Or is that one of the... Hang on. Is that one of these? Or no, it's just like a really lifesteal way of doing things, huh? Interesting. So... effectively... this is kind of a, I forget exactly what the identity is, but the Limbus Company Gregor Bloodfiend identity, where he just brings himself to super, super low health and then explodes. Is it kind of like that? That's kind of what I'm seeing here. Interesting. So, because you keep so much bleed, you do actually have quite a bit of health, actually. You have a lot of health. It's the stagger resist that I'm kind of wondering about, because even with Mircalla, we staggered it very easily, which, to be fair, if it's completely driven by desire, I guess you would be kind of sidelined pretty easy, huh? Alright, fair enough, fair enough. work in progress. So we can't access the other fights? Oh, well, that sucks. I thought, well, hang on. Wait. I bet you I got an idea. I bet you the rest are, hang on. What is it called? Lure. I don't remember. No, not quite. All right, how about fines? Dang it, so you really can't access the rest of the fights right now? Oh, well, had I known that, I would have done these ones in the previous episode. Oh. So, hang on, because the mod page has quite a few abnormalities. So, I'm questioning why we can't access the rest. I really, really hope that it's not we have to kill the train to do it, because this isn't, yeah, that's blind obsession. That's not quite what we're looking for. Maybe I'm blind again. Hang on, maybe I'm blind. This is train. I could be blind. You know what? It got me one time. We're gonna look around real careful, like. That's obsession. It's not over here in the middle. It's not on the right. Oh, you know what? Hang on. I have an idea. Okay, and it's not a tab situation. I thought maybe it's like it's a flip side. No, so okay, so apparently you can't access the rest of the abnormality fights right now. Dang it. All right, well, something in my throat, by the way. Sorry, I'm clearing my throat so much. So, all right, to give my final thoughts in that case, since it is still a work in progress, I already knew that. I just thought that there were more fights readily available. So, here's my thoughts. I like the fights. The fights are actually really fun. And I'm glad that I came back and tried it again because, well, let's just say my first impression was not good. I think something that I would change is the lure fight. I feel like should give you a ranged page or two. And I also think that Army and Pink should potentially heal the clerks rather than heal you. I feel like that would be a bit of a better change, because you basically have to make an exact archetype to be able to even kill the lantern, because if you melee attack it, you die immediately. There is no stopping it. There is no passives that will save you. You are dead. But I do really like the fact that if too many clerks or you die, Army in Pink turns into Army in Black, and you have to fight through them. And I also really... King and Binds was a little weird. Now, I think it was a good fight. It paid homage to the actual King and Binds fight. I think sinking instead of Tremor is a little bit of a strange choice, but overall, it still works. It does add a unique element, so I think it works. I just feel that Tremor would maybe make a little bit more sense, but overall, it is a fun fight. And then, honestly, I feel like 400 roses honestly needs some kind of buff. I would almost say something to punish you a little bit more for either putting too much bleed on the flower. Maybe it gains extra dice power up to a certain amount based on bleed, like, I don't know, +3, you know. Or like, maybe it's like a double-sided thing. If there's too much bleed on you, it gains power because it wants it. If there's too much bleed on it, it gains power because it has it. Something like that. I don't know. I also think you should give a little bit more reason to actually use the unique page, the 6 to 9, take 10 bleed, take 5 damage, and then it draws the next page, because it kind of feels like there's no reason to use it unless there's something I missed, which, to be fair, entirely possible. Other than that, I liked all the fights. I liked the music choices for all the fights. And I am glad that I decided to come back and do this set of receptions again. I really thought that there was more abnormalities that were available, but apparently I was mistaken, unless there's some way to invite them through the general receptions. That's kind of what I'm thinking might be the case, but I don't know. I'll check the mod page here in a minute, but either way, these receptions are really fun. I would say maybe a couple number tweaks. Some feel a little weak. I would say 400 Roses feels a little weak. Army in Black honestly felt fine. King in Binds honestly felt fine. Maybe like a couple of number tweaks there to give it like a little bit more of a high and maybe a little bit less of a low as well. So there's like a little bit of variance in there. But overall, this was a fun set of abnormalities, and it does something that, again, not many mods do, which is give you unique abnormality pages, and, technically, E.G.O pages if you're using the abnormality suit. So overall, very fun, glad we returned, but since we still got a fair bit of time, I think I'm gonna go through all my general receptions and see. Oh, you know what? Actually, I have an idea. I was told that there is a reception in here that apparently never made it on camera. So we're gonna do that. I could have sworn I've already done this fight, but apparently we haven't. So we're gonna do it now. No, we have done this one. Yeah, we have done this one. This is where he gets his ego. Question mark on that. I know for a fact we've done that one in that case. Or was it this one? Took me a second to remember who they were. Yeah. So, okay, we have done all these receptions. I could have sworn, honestly, it might just be buried in one of the episodes, but I know for a fact I've done this one, and this is the one that was brought up to me. So, time to check general receptions. I found one. A Nameless Piercer. Normal, normal, endur, normal, normal. It's a 1v1. Sylph Workshop Rejuvenator. Enemy only. At the start of the scene, apply the following effects in sequence. If this character has 3 or less light, restore 4 light and inflict 2 fragile to self at the end of the scene. Oh, sorry, my mouse is messing up. If this character has 2 or less pages in hand, draw 2 pages and inflict 2 stagger fragile to self at the end of the scene. Restore 1 light and draw 1 page. Annihilation Protocol. Enemy only. At the start of the scene, if at 25% max HP, recover from stagger, set charge to 10 if it was less than 10, and add a copy of Oversurge Mark II to hand. Its cost becomes 0. HP does not fall below 25% until this effect activates. Oversurge Mark II gives you 2 strong blocks plus 1 powerful pierce. The pierce spends all charge to deal stagger damage. If 10 plus is spent, it immobilizes. And blocks spend 5 charge on clash lose. Okay, so if you win against the charges, or the blocks, you're pretty much good to go. Nameless Art Stellar Spark. Can store up to 20 charges at once at 10 plus charge, pierce dice power plus 1, and pierce damage plus 1. At 10 or less charge, you gain plus 1 defensive dice power. Sylph Workshop Electrostimulants. After spending charge using a combat page, recover 5 HP, once per scene. After gaining charge using a combat page, recover 5 stagger resist once per scene. At the end of the scene, if both effects triggered the scene, recover 5 HP and stagger resist, and inflict 1 fragile and stagger fragile to self next scene. Parallel processing. If this character is immobilized, draw 2 pages at the end of the scene and recover 2 stagger resist when taking damage from attacks. And excharge. If this character is immobilized, restore 2 light and gain 5 charge at the end of the scene. 0 point. On use, restore 1 light, spend all charge to restore 1 light per 10 charge spent. On hit, recycle this die up to number of times 10 charge was spent by this page, maximum of 4. Double first trial. On use, gain 5 charge. On hit, restore 1 light up to twice. Double ion wind. On use, gain 1 haste and protection next scene. Spend 5 charge to draw 2 pages. Recalibrating. On use, set charge to 10. Then take stagger damage equal to the amount gained, or recover stagger resist equal to the amount spent. On clash lose, recover 3 stagger resist. Override. Start of clash, immobilize self next scene. Destroy the first die on the target's page. On hit, gain 5 charge. You know, I'm struggling to read today. Once I read out the last 2 pages, I think I'm going to take a little break. Not that you won't even notice, but on use, spend 5 charge to gain 1 haste and protection next scene. On hit, gain 2 strength next scene. And overclock. Combat start, immobilize self next scene. Gain 1 strength and endurance and 5 charge this scene. On hit, inflict 2 burn and fragile this scene. As for who we want to 1v1, I think we gotta take Mr. Rolando. The time has come. Lulland versus a Nameless Piercer. So, interestingly, we do not get the usual 1v1 passive where we get extra health, which means this might be a little brutal, but we'll see. Durandal is certainly going to help us out, old boys, making short work of this Nameless Piercer. Now, I'm gonna go hammer and nail. I know that's a little bit of a weird choice, but hear me out. I think it's gonna work out the best for us as far as extra stagger and regular damage goes. Now, okay, we're gonna go Crystal Ulterior right here. Therefore, that shouldn't affect us at all. Then we go for Mook to get some of our resources back. Oh, I'm sorry about that. Were you not able to hit me even a little bit? Ow. Well, that sure sucks for you, buddy. Let's go with Sword of Frost. Okay, a little bit of bind should help us out with some of these situations where we're not quite able to clash. Recalibrating an Ion Wind. We are going to be able to stop both. So let's go for Ulterior Logic. Then we go for Alias Workshop. We're going to take a tiny bit of damage, but the near guaranteed clashes is just going to be worth it. Okay. I think Guilt is the way to go. We take less stagger. You take a little bit in return. Remorse could be nice. I'm gonna take Wrist Cutter just in case. Wrist Cutter is just so good. Now, by the way, this is another version of Sinking, which at the end of the scene, take 2 stagger damage and subtract 1/3 of the Sinking back. So many versions of Sinking. That extra bind is also very much coming into play. So what I'm gonna do, let's go for Wheels. Let's go for Zelkova, and then let's go for Ranga. And then I think that also allows us to use Furioso next turn if need be. We do end up losing one of our clashes. That's fine. Zelkova does end up going through. If Wheels lost, then we did something wrong. We could maximize our damage with musical notes. Or we could do Ice Splinter. Nah, you know what? Max damage. Why not? Beautiful tune, because it's going to work out with our musical notes. Behold, a song. That's pretty scary. I'm going to use Crystal Ulterior and hope that it's enough. Ooh, I'm going to use Mook. We're not going to be able to stop that. Let's use Durandal. And then we'll use Old Boys, although we are going to take some one-sided damage. Okay, well, we stopped a fair bit of damage. Right! That ability deletes our first combat page we use. Kinda forgot about that little detail. Now, alright. Here's what we could do. We could do Leer, because it makes them take double damage, and we're dealing extra damage. Alternatively, we could take the Pianist to gain 3 more musical notes, which is going to make us deal even more damage. I think we're going to go Piano. And then I'm going to reroll. Remorse. Okay, now, because you're staggered, I'm going to go for Furioso, and also Sinking Melody. Then we will go for Zelkova just so we can draw, and here we go. I don't think you're dead, but you're sure gonna be close. 120 damage from Sinking Melody and Furioso, doing what it does best. And all but finishing you. Wow, that, oh, yeah, that went real good. Huh. I can say I was not expecting it to be quite that good. Also, I don't recognize this. Oversurge Mark II. Oh, this is the one that we have to win the 2 clashes with. Okay, I'm going for Alias then. And then we'll just go for another Zelkova Workshop and soak the damage and potentially get staggered, or we get a kill. Ouch. Not bad. If it wasn't for the musical notes, we would have been dead. If we had taken Leer, we would have been dead. And for the final reception we're gonna do in this episode, we're up against Sunshower Eul. Endured to literally everything. At the start of the act, gain 500 shield. Okay, so he has 900 health. HP cannot drop below 400 before shield drops to 0, plus shimmering. Lobotomy Company Branch Disciplinary Team member. Oh. Hang on, if you're part of Disciplinary. Which one is Disciplinary? Is that Gabura? I don't remember which one Disciplinary is. I think it's Gabura. We're gonna roll with that. At the start of the act, gain 6 Guard Umbrella. At a regular interval, 4 Old Umbrella are summoned. Regularly shifts between attack mode and defense mode. Bearless Mind. Will use the combat page Sink It All at regular intervals. At the start of the scene, inflict 1 sinking on all characters. See what I mean about the sinking thing? 4 different types of sinking. And that's in 1 episode. Determination. When the character recovers from stagger, if the character has sinking, gain sinking by 2 damage up at the start of the scene for the rest of the act, then remove all sinking stacks. Potential Man? Umbrella Thwack. On hit, inflict 2 sinking, and on hit, inflict 1 sinking. Let's see. On hit, if not staggered, gain X stagger damage and subtract 1 secondard of the sinking stack. If staggered, then gain X damage. Okay. Okay. Self-defense. Not consumed / on clash win, gain 1 damage up next scene. And then the same thing, but gain strength next scene. Umbrella Pierce. On hit, inflict 2 sinking and vulnerable, which is fragile. Puddle Stomp. On use, if user has 2+ sinking, the minimum value of the dice on this page by +2. If target has 4+ sinking, the max value of the dice on this page by +3. On hit, inflict 3 sinking. On hit, inflict 2 fragile. And on hit, inflict 1 sinking. Umbrella. Not consumed on clash win, gain 1 strength next scene. Sink it all. Gain corroding heart next scene. On hit, this page is considered to hit all characters. Oh. That's nasty. On hit, inflict 5 sinking. And Sunshower. Mass summonation 25 to 35 on hit, cause Sking Deluge. Sing King Deluge, it says in the other tooltip. Deal ×5 damage and remove all sinking. Okay. So I believe this reception is machine translated for English, which is fine. 6 times 10% less damage and stagger damage. So you're taking 60% less. Gotcha. Well, alrighty then. Let's go for Upstanding Slash, immediately followed by a Spear. We are going to change our order on that in just a moment. Let's go for Deep Smoke and Tail Whisk. I'm just going to go for a double Autonomous Rush. Then we go for another Autonomous Rush plus a Guidance of the Gears. Then, this is where the fun stuff happens. Fragment Wrath. We're going to go for Empty Resolution and Hollow Flash. Then, we're going to change Gabura's order. Clash here. Here we go. Upstanding Slash does end up working. We're dealing about 1 damage to the shield at a time. Luckily, because we are a smoke floor, I'm pretty sure our damage is going to skyrocket the longer this fight goes. Autonomous Rush. Okay, but a Tail Whisk for some bleed. We've dealt about 35 shield damage. That's not terrible. Certainly could be better, but also could be worse. Let's go for, honestly, it looks like a pretty similar play this turn. I am going to go for Thought Gear Propagate, and then let's go ahead and go for Continuous Battle, because we get maximum use. We'll go for another Continuous Battle, because, hey, may as well. We're at 12. So let's force a clash here. Then we go for a Guidance, that way we're full light. Over here, I am going to use Hatred. Let's see. We're going to go for Empty Dance, and then I'm going to go for Hollow Spear, that way we can get some of our light back. Okay, the smoke is certainly helping. We've done 70 damage equal. We've done equal to 70 damage to the shield. Okay, Continuous Battle working out nicely for us. Empty Dance. Only being a little bit seizure warning inducing. Let's see. I'm so tempted to go for Vampirism, but I know it's not going to be a good idea. So what I'm going to do instead... Dude, Nosferatu's pages feel like they're so difficult to actually make use out of. If we were a smoke floor and instead we were a bleed floor, I think that it would work really, really well. But all things considered, it almost feels like Nosferatu should have been on Hod's floor. I am going to re-roll just once. Claws of Savagery, because, hey, may as well. And we'll use it on Roberta. Okay, so you're in guard mode. If a defensive die when a clash, inflict 1 sinking. If lose in a clash, gain 2 sinking. Okay. Right. I'm following along. In that case, I'm going to go for Guidance of the Gears. And then let's just go for a Deep Smoke. After death, Eul will lose 1 guard umbrella. Ooh. Well, I'm going to use Onrush and hope for the best then, and then we also go for Spear to try and win some of these clashes. Let's go for Thought Gear Propagate, and then we go for another Autonomous Rush. Over here, let's go ahead and use Despair. Void Star... Yeah, we got to try and get through some of these counter dice, so I'm going to go for Luster and hope for the best. Then I'm going to use Continuous Battle, just in case that one isn't taken down, and then we go for Deep Smoke so that it rolls minimum. Okay, he said something, although I am unsure what. Onrush takes out 1. Takes out 2. Takes out a 3rd. And gets through a block die. Oh. Okay, Spear not quite working out. Deep Smoke, getting absolute max value. Only 1 dice left to do. And we broke all of them. So it looks like no buffs for you. I'm going to go ahead and go for Vengeance. And I'm going to do Vengeance on Evo Knight. Okay, so you're going for some pretty strong pages. I don't know that I'm going to be able to stop all of them, but I can certainly get rid of Puddle Stomp, and then we go for a Focus Spirit. I'm going to go for Guidance of the Gears. You know what? And then I know it's super early. I'm going to go for Fragments just to get rid of all those dice. Then, let's just use an Empty Dance, although it's not going to get a whole lot of value. Let's try and win the clash with Vapor. Not able to use anything else. That's fine. Then we'll go for a Continuous Battle and another Autonomous Rush. Now, we did get rid of some of the guarding umbrellas. So he's effectively taking 40% more damage. Tell you what, though, the stagger damage he's dealing is very, very high. Fragments, luckily, is going to be very, very useful for us. I think that was 16 stagger, but it also did a fair amount of shield damage. It also put a tiny, tiny bit of erosion for us to work with, which, considering we're able to use so many attacks, plus all of the smoke that we're getting, that actually deals quite a bit of damage. Oh, you are prioritizing Gabura. 8 to 15, I don't know if that works. I'm gonna use Upstanding Slash, and then we manifest our ego. That's all we're gonna be able to do, unfortunately. Using Guidance of the Gears might kill us, although we don't have too much of a choice if we want to reduce some of this damage. And you're not going for your Giga move either. You're going for a lot of Puddle Stomps. Okay, nothing we do this turn is honestly gonna feel that incredible, so I think the only thing that we can do is attempt to spread out the amount of damage that we're taking. I am gonna go for Void Star. And then we'll go for Hollow Spear, that way we can get some of our light back. Okay, that one erosion is actually helping us by a lot because it's actually quite a bit of free flat damage. Okay, here comes a ton of stagger. Okay, not as bad as I would have thought, actually. Counter Knife's working very, very well with Gabura. Unfortunately, that is going to be the only one. Ow, ow, ow. I don't think we got staggered. It was very close. Oh, E.G.O Knight is not going to be staggered either, despite it all. And Ayuli's shield is incredibly low at this point. So what I'm going to do now, let's go for Laughter on Gabura. And then Cobalt Scar. God. Why was that so loud? Why was that so loud for a few seconds? What in the world happened? Okay, we're just gonna ignore that. Also, the umbrellas do have more health. And if they die, Iyul is gonna gain some extra strength. Staggered and gain 6 sinking. When hit, return 200% and stagger damage to the attacker's... Oh. So that's just going to kill Gabura. Am I mistaken on that? Well, we're gonna do it anyway. Hi-yeet. Oh, yeah. Well, literally did that to myself. That was so bad. She did 300 damage to herself. Oh, man. Yeah, one might argue, not a great plan. Here's what we're gonna do. Deep Smoke probably has the best choice. Honestly, we're in a bit of a situation because of my own choice. Let's go ahead and go for Wrath. Then I am going to go for Violent Ire. Okay. Let's go for Empty Dance. Right here. Then we're going to go for Empty Resolution to guarantee that this umbrella dies. That way he's not quite as powerful. I'm going to go for Thought Gear Indoctrinate because the second one will guaranteed hit, which also takes out this umbrella. Let's go for Autonomous Rush, and yeah, whatever damage we take, unfortunately, we are just going to have to take it. Behold! This music sounds familiar, but I'm not quite able to place it. The only one who blocks it is going to be the Magical Girl of Fiction. E.G.O Knight just took 60 damage. Flat damage, mind you. Certainly not ideal. Okay, that hurts. We're gonna go for Ruddled Welt on the Magical Girl of Fiction, and then I'm also going to go for Smile. That way we can spam some debuffs if needed. I don't know how this umbrella survived, but it is buffing him up, which we don't like. Significantly less dice to worry about now, though, and I'm gonna take a wild guess and say that's because either 3 of us are dead, or because some of the umbrellas are dead. Let's go for Autonomous Rush. And then I'm honestly just gonna go for Double Guidance of the Gears, just in case we don't get staggered. Then, let's gain some endurance. And I'm gonna go for... Oh, that's gonna hurt real bad. Okay, we're gonna go for the Clash. Then, Empty Resolution, Void Star, and Hollow Spear. Ha! Okay, he is actually debuffed because Smile did land, so that is going to help us a little bit. -1 strength. It's not a lot, but it does help. Helps enough to win those clashes. Okay, Traces of Guilt working out quite nicely. He did 17 flat damage to us because of our sinking. Oh, actually, because of that, his Sinking Deluge isn't going to be nearly as powerful now. No, that was Sinking Deluge. My bad. Okay. So, you're focus firing Eileen. Oh, you're going for Puddle Stomp. Not amazing. Let's draw 2 pages. We could go for Violent Ire, but that takes so much light that I actually don't think it's worth it. Let's go for Empty Dance, because that should win every clash. Empty Resolution, I'm also fairly confident in. And then anything else we do, unfortunately, is not going to be able to clash. So let's go ahead and recover some of our resources. I'm going to go for Thought Gear Propagate. Let's see. Let's go for Vapor. Then we go for Continuous Battle and also Guidance of the Gears. Okay, we do have him down to 236 health, and he is still taking 20% reduced damage from everything. Not to mention the protection, which is also making him take less. Okay, I'll take a neutral outcome. Puddle Stomp does still get a little bit of damage on us. Not as much as it would have if it was one-sided. Guidance of the Gears doing good damage. Hollow Spear also following it up. Okay, let's see. Shell, unfortunately, isn't really going to work how I want it to. Because Shell is going to reduce the total amount of stagger damage that we take, but it's not going to stop sinking. Let's just go for Goodbye, because I think that should do really well. Then we go for Mimicry. By the way, sorry if you hear me sniffling. I don't know what's going on. Apparently I'm getting sick, but I'm not meaning to. Let's go for Greed. Restore some light, even though it doesn't work. That's fine. Let's get rid of Puddle Stomp. Then we go for Luster to try and get rid of some of those counter dice. Empty Resolution for big value. Sickle of Nil for much the same reason. Then we go for Mimicry to counter this. And that doesn't leave us with a whole lot of light, but we do have a bunch of counter dodge dice. So let's put them to good use. Fragments. $19 damage and 13 stagger. Goodbye. Okay, Eileen looking much healthier after that attack. We have him down to 99 health. The erosion is absolutely helping us, considering he still has 4 protection and 2 stacks of umbrella, so he is really not taking much damage at all. We are all getting very, very close as far as HP thresholds get, though. Oh boy, that's a whole lot of dice. Okay. Empty Dance should work. Luster should win that clash. And then Empty Resolution into Hollow Spear. And that is unfortunately all we have. I'm gonna go for Autonomous Rush. That way we can try and win against the AoE. I don't know that it's gonna work, but we gotta try. We either win or lose. Neither of us block. And both of us die. Dang it. So close. Okay, so I learned a thing, and that's if you get him to this phase too quickly, he keeps some of the percent less damage umbrellas. If you take a while, he summons more umbrellas, which means you can get rid of them all. Issue, he does have 4 extra strength, but we're gonna see what happens. Begin. So I think we're gonna lose Isabel. I'm gonna keep it real. Grand Challenge was kind of my coup de grace ability that I figured was gonna keep us alive, and it didn't even win a single clash. Not amazing. Voltage Stable is hyper buffed. Unfortunately, he does still get a guaranteed hit on us. Ooh. What was that? 16 stagger damage? Yikes. Arc Rush! Donk, 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 donk. The amount of paralyze that we're inflicting on him is absolutely helping us. Unfortunately, it's not preventing us from taking damage. But it is helping, and that's what matters. Capacitor dealing a pretty good amount of damage, not to mention we're also going to draw as much as we physically need. Sam getting quite a bit of damage, plus a bit of bleed next turn, and a Decay Ampule just to help us out. It also really helps that we are inflicting Mark from Isabel. I don't know if we're going to be able to stop that damage, if I'm honest. Okay, so a lot of these clashes do not have good numbers for us, so unfortunately, we're just going to let it roll. He does have 3 strength, but he also has 15 paralyze. Okay, 2 out of 4 of us block it. That unfortunately means that only Isabel dies, actually. We do actually manage to survive. We get a Decay Ampule for next turn, but we are going to be staggered. Another Decay Ampule being put. Another Decay Ampule being put. Impedance matching kind of reduces damage for us, which is very nice. Voltage Stable getting quite a bit of value. Spread out is unfortunately going to kill Sam. Overload, however, is going to come in very, very handy because it does quite a bit of damage, and stagger damage counter maintenance is also going to help us out. We should go for Fervent Adoration. Finale won't do anything. Fervent Adoration won't do anything. So, Spring's Genesis is kind of the only thing that we can get use out of. So, I'm going to give it to Facey Randy because he does have more health to work with. And then we're going to go for Faint Aroma just for a little bit of killing power. 17 stagger damage is done because of his own mechanics. Let's see. Okay, I'm going to go for Arc Rush because honestly, I think that might even give us a stagger. AC Transmission is going to be buffed into Oblivion. Let's go ahead and go for Pleasure. Actually, that's not... Yeah. You know what? Let it roll. And then let's get a bunch of light. Let's get even more light. Next turn we kill, guaranteed. Okay, good stuff. Almost out of stagger. One more good hit. Oh, one more. Pleasure gets us there. Very, very good. And because it rolls 3 times, Ayul goes down. Who would have guessed that the best counter to depression is a bit of joy? Na 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 na. Yippee! Eul. At the start of each scene, take the... Ooh. So, hear me out. Does this not just seem super fitting for Netzach? I like the K-Corp Excision staff page. I'm gonna be honest, I don't think how I have it set up is good. I think it's actually pretty bad. Kizuna, I think, is a good idea, with the thought process that we're going to be restoring a ton of health. K-Corp or HP Ampule just makes sense. Solidarity also makes sense because we're keeping everyone alive, so it's basically a permanent +1 strength. But I don't think it's the best setup. So instead, Eiyile? I don't know how to say it. I think this page will be much better. After all, Netzach is our depressed boy. Aw. I was potentially going to put him in the coat, but it completely overrides his appearance, so should have seen that coming. Now, if only we could use King in Binds with Netzach, oh, that would be so perfect. But either way, thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed. If there is a way to access some of the other receptions, let me know. I wasn't able to find them through the general receptions, or just kind of looking around the map. So I don't know if maybe I'm missing something or if they aren't implemented yet. I know it is a work in progress mod, so maybe it's that. I'm kind of hoping that it's not locked behind the train. But if it is, we'll see what we can do. So, thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed. And I will see you in the next one. Bye.